What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Truth Talk podcast. My name's Alex Zach, and my co-host
Jarvis.
is here to talk about productivity and work. Somewhere that was not the best
Bro,
intro,
are
but we're
you
gonna keep
kidding
going.
me? I'm doing the intros from now on.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So today we're gonna talk about productivity and just some things that we do to be a little bit more productive when it comes to just I would say like online work, right? And just any work almost. I wouldn't say, yeah, I don't want to limit it. Okay, so what are some tips and tricks? Okay, first of all, how has your productivity been like lately?
Well, we definitely didn't talk about this before we were recording. Um, it's really it's really convenient that you asked me that, Alex. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, no
Um,
problem.
Lately, my productivity has been like I just feel like it's kind of been like scattered. Like I'm getting done like the key things, like I'm getting it done, but it's kind of like all over the place. And then like holidays didn't help with that, obviously, because it's like, I was moving
Hmm.
around, visiting family and stuff like that. Um, and then I'm trying to think why it's been kind of off lately. I don't know, just had a lot of stuff going on. Nothing like major, you know what I mean? But just like going here and there or whatever. Um, so that's where I don't want to take up too much time with my whole sob
Just,
story about how I can't
just,
write in a Google
just to
Doc.
give some context,
Yeah.
right before recording this podcast, I was like, let's talk about productivity and like some things, right? We jotted down some notes, but like, he was like, my productivity has not been that great lately. I'm like, the first thing I'm gonna ask him is, how has your productivity been? But yeah, I mean, if I had to say about my productivity, I mean, it's okay, but like I wouldn't say it has been anything spectacular. There's just a couple things I've been doing that when I do them, I get a little I get a little bit more productive and I get more things done. But like that's kind of why I wanted to talk about productivity and like some things that we can do to maximize it. So
Yep.
I mean, okay, so what are some tips, maybe some tricks that you're doing to be to be more productive?
What do you have to say? Why are you
No, because
what's
I
so
said
funny?
some tips and then I said some tricks. It was like not, it should have been tips and tricks, but I didn't say it like that. Anyway, man, I got the
You're thinking about
laughing.
the wrong thing. All right.
What? No.
Um,
All right, you got it.
all right. What do I have to say about productivity?
What are some
Um,
tips and tricks?
what would I say? I would
All right, I'll go
say,
because you have no idea what you're saying yet. So this is something that I do. I talked about it in the last podcast, right? Basically, I set a timer, right? And like I'll set a timer for depending on like what the task is, right? Like if the task is like I have to finish editing a video, right? I'll set a timer for like 30 minutes, right? Boom, set that timer. And it kind of like, especially for you procrastinators out there and for me, because I'm a procrastinator, basically it's kind of like you have like this mindset where you want to get it done before the time is finished, right? And I talked about this in the last podcast. It's kind of like something that I use just when I want to get something done and I know that I can get it done in a certain amount of time. But lately I've been doing it like what more often and more often. It's like a lot more common, especially when I want to lock in. Like I'll just put on like noise canceling headphones and I'm just like locked in. Like
what
I might not
music
even be playing music.
what music do you listen to?
Depends on what I'm doing. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
depends
I've been
on.
doing like I've just been throwing on like my rap playlist. I'll just like
Mhm.
bump it on my speakers, bro. And it's low key kind of a vibe because you just kind of like get into the groove of it, and it's like it usually works better for like shallow tasks where it's just kind of like going through stuff and like kind of just going back and forth. If you actually
Yeah,
have
if
to
it's
like
more focused for me, then I just kind of wear my headphones and I don't have anything playing. Like I do that a lot. Like it just
really,
cancels out all the noise and I'm just like locked in. Like sometimes I'll
bro,
do that. And then if it's like something like that, then I'll just like play like I don't know, whatever music I have, like just not like if it's like something I don't need to be using my ears. Cause like a lot of times like there's a lot of tasks that I have to do. Like if I have to like cold call, like I can't listen to music while
yeah,
I'm cold calling. Like I have to be listening to exactly what they're saying, how to
yeah,
react to
yeah.
it. Same thing when it comes to editing. Like I have to be hearing. I have to be hearing um
Yeah, that makes sense.
whatever I'm editing. And then like there's other tasks where it's like, oh, I have to put together a spreadsheet. It's like, okay, I can listen to music. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's kind of, when I do that. I mean, what about you?
Yeah, I kind of cycle through. Right now my go-to is like, have you ever listened to the Inception soundtrack?
I mean, we watched that movie in high school.
Have you
That's
heard
the
this?
only
But
thing
have
I've
you listened to the soundtrack?
no.
Bro, the soundtrack is an absolute banger. So the guy that wrote it, like you know what I mean, composer or whatever,
Mhm.
dude's name is Hans Zimmer. And he was my
I think
number one artist of 2023 on Spotify. Number one artist. He's got a bunch of bangers, but I've been going through that one lately. Um, listen to a lot of classical. Trying to think what else. Synthwave, funk, but like chill funk, not like the banging in your eardrum.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah, I think this guy's super, super famous, right? This
yeah,
Hans Zimmer guy.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
big. And
yeah.
then I'm trying to think what else. That's pretty much it. Just like synthwave, funk, classical, soundtrack
Mm,
types,
yeah.
stuff like that.
Another thing that I wanted to talk about, right? And I don't know if this is applies to you too, but I feel like, I mean, I saw this on a video too the other day, like stress. Like if you're feeling stress, I feel like it comes from a state of inactivity. Like
Yes.
when you're not doing something that you know you should be doing, that's when stress happens.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I think the scientific definition of stress, could be wrong on this. I don't think I am though. And it's basically when an object wants to be in two places at once. Which is a perfect analogy for stress when you know you have a task, because one part of you wants to avoid the task. They want to not do it because it's, mentally straining to complete whatever it is. If it's like writing a, 10-page thing or whatever it may be. And then the other part of you wants to just get it done, right? So you want to be in two different places and you're stressed being pulled in both those directions.
I mean, I
So
feel like the number one cause of stress is procrastination. If you're procrastinating, you're putting something aside. It's because you know you have to do it, right? And I do this a lot. Like I know I have to do it, and I'll spend so much time thinking about it. And it's like if I would have just done that like Saturday morning, then I wouldn't have to be worrying about it all weekend. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Stuff like
so
that.
so how do you feel about procrastination? Because I do think that like procrastination is real. I do think that that's a thing. Um, but I think that there's different types of it. I think that there's types of procrastination where it's like you have a task that you know you need to do, but for whatever reason, it's extremely like uncomfortable to complete that task. Like cold calling is the perfect example where it's like you know that you need to make progress, but whenever you pick up the phone, you're scared that somebody's gonna like yell at you over the phone or something like that, whatever, right?
Not for me.
But that no,
Because
but
I
that's a very valid feel. Like
yeah,
people don't like to get rejected when they cold
because
call.
it's like a nerve. I don't know about. I don't think it's a they don't like to get rejected. It's a
It's
they
a
feel
fight or flight
nervous.
response.
I feel like there's like something that kicks in where they feel nervous, and the only way you're gonna get rid of that, because I was like that too. Like I wouldn't do a call in front of somebody else because I'm like, oh, this is like awkward. Like this is like not. But the only way you're gonna get rid of it is if you do them. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's
So
yeah.
there's that type of procrastination, but I do feel like there's a certain type of procrastination. Pretty sure it's backed by neurobiology. And I watched like a breakdown of a scientific, study or whatever the nerds
Mhm.
say. And it's basically like there's a certain type of procrastination where it basically kicks in when you almost like subconsciously know that you should not be pursuing something, but for whatever reason you agreed to do it. So then when it comes to actually making the steps towards that, you procrastinate on it because you know subconsciously like this is not what you want to do. The example given in that video was basically like taking steps. It was this guy like running a company and it was taking steps towards like signing this contract with like some contractor for like some software thing. And it would be like a six figure per month contract. And he basically knew like this isn't what they should be doing. So he was procrastinating on getting that deal through. So I do feel like there's certain things there. For example, for me, the perfect example for that, to a certain degree, I would say would be like school related stuff. Because let's be
Yeah,
honest,
for me
bro,
too.
we all intrinsically know that physics is useless. Physics is useless for most
Unless you want to be an
people,
engineer.
unless you want to launch rockets into space or you want to like build skyscrapers, which is not the industry that I'm in. Personally, I don't know about you, Alex. Can you confirm
No,
or
I'm
deny?
not building rockets and sending them to the moon. That's not no.
I don't think anybody ever sent a rocket to the moon, bro. All right,
Yeah,
separate.
they
That's a
did.
separate
What are you
podcast.
talking about, bro? No, of course they sent a
That
rocket
was
to
a
the moon.
Hollywood set, bro. You're
No, it
tripping.
wasn't. It was 100% people on the moon.
Bro, you're the Matrix.
No, of course they sent people to the moon.
But he learned this. It is.
Dude, my dad works for NASA, bro.
Your dad actually works for NASA.
Not anymore. He used to, yes. He was worked there for like 15 years.
All right, you can give me his phone number after this. I've got some questions for him.
Yeah, all right.
But
Yeah.
um,
He's probably watching.
so
What's up? All right, yeah. So yeah, we're talking about
we got
stress.
we got sidetracked there. Yeah, basically was talking about like procrastinating on stuff that you intrinsically don't want to do. Yeah, I feel like there's certain cases with that. Obviously, it probably applies more so to students because they know that like school is useless. That's all I had to say.
So for me personally, like what you just said, like kind of relates, but like I feel like most of the time when I don't procrastinate on things that I like actually like want to do. Like if it's like editing a video, like I kind of like I don't want to do it because I know it's gonna take up a lot of time and it's kind of like tedious. But like at the end of the day, like I want to do it. Like, I
Yeah,
really want. I intrinsically, but like when I don't know how to do something is when I procrastinate a lot. Like when I like for example, like I'll give you an example, like schoolwork, right? We're talking about physics. We'll stay on physics, right? I don't know how to do like a certain lab or something, right?
bro. Physics
I
is so
just
trash.
but like if there's like a lab or something like
Yeah,
specific that I just don't know how to do, like I'll always put it off to the last minute because it's like maybe it scares me or something or I don't know what it is. Like knowing that I don't know how to do it is like the most scary thing. But like for example, if there's like a math assignment, right? And I know how to do it, like I don't feel bad like sitting down for like an hour and like just banging it out. You know what I mean? Like if I know how to do it, it
yeah,
makes a big difference. I don't know if that's the same for a lot of people, but for me, that's kind of how it goes.
yeah. I think that uncertainty is probably the biggest thing to overcome when it comes to actually doing something because it's like you're basically it more so applies to business, I would say, because it's like you're like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm gonna sit down and scrape this list. I'm gonna put together a list of 20 people that I can email about whatever. But the uncertainty of it is, well, if I make this list, like, are they actually going to respond? Are they actually
Yeah.
going to buy what I have to offer, or am I just wasting my time? And if you extrapolate that to like, because that doesn't just apply to that, it applies to every single task that's in a business, right? Because like
Yeah.
obviously, like when an invoice clears and a client pays you to do a certain project or a certain service, then it's like, okay, like I know exactly what I'm getting out of this. But up until that point of like in basically like the prospecting stage, you're sending somebody an email and you're like, well, are they even going to
There,
respond to this? Are they
there
even going
might
to
not be
see
a
this?
return.
Right, exactly. So it's an uncertainty around the basically like the return on your investment.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely feel like if you don't, there's it's all about like uncertainty. Um,
Yeah. So
is there
okay,
anything
so
else like productivity tips, like going back to the main productivity topic?
I would say the best thing. Did we talked about this? Yeah, I think we talked about this in the last one. Basically about like finding kind of like the style of what you want to do. So I want to
Uh-huh.
expand on this because we got kind of cut short there. So I won't go into the whole thing because I don't want to make this too repetitive. But basically, like what we were saying was like if you're gonna be choosing like what you want to do, I found like the most effective thing is to kind of like find your style of like
Yeah.
what how you like to do things, and then find whether it be the business model or the prospecting strategy or the fulfillment mechanism, like whatever it is that basically like plays to your strengths, you know? So I think that if you find yourself constantly procrastinating on very basic tasks in your business, I think that you should potentially rethink kind of like the strategy that you have with approaching it. Because it's like if you despise getting on video and talking, like you just hate it. You know what I mean? Like you've made a few YouTube videos, so it's not like a discipline issue. You just hate getting on video. Then maybe you should just do text-based content and do that. Like instead of posting on YouTube, post on Twitter.
And that'll help your productivity.
Exactly, because it's like there's multiple ways to kind of like solve the same problem. So I would say that's probably like the best thing in terms of like strategy that I would say. I think that
It's
a
like,
lot of people should focus on that more than like the minute, oh, what music should I play during my deep work session for maximum productivity? Because that's like a tiny percentage increase. I think that this is like a order of magnitude increase, in my
yeah, I
humble
agree
opinion.
that you should find what you like and that would make it better, but not necessarily what you like, but rather your like style or like your way of
Like
doing it.
basically
Because
find the strategy that plays to your strengths. You know what I mean?
yeah, because like if you're not good at making thumbnails like me, then you shouldn't spend an hour trying to find stuff.
Yeah,
You
or
should
just
just
outsource
ask your
it.
friend for help.
Yeah, or
Exactly.
just
Yeah.
outsource it because it's like you can pay
Yeah.
somebody not that much money to just make you a thumbnail or just to edit. Like if you like obviously like when you're just starting out, like you're kind of wearing all the hats, like you're kind of doing everything. But if
Mhm.
you're just starting out, or even say like you're making some amount of money and you want to start on YouTube, right? You don't mind talking on camera, like that's fine. You know what I mean? Like everything else is cool. You just don't like editing the videos. You don't like making the thumbnails. Like you can just outsource that and
I
you don't
mean,
have to do it. You know
okay,
what I
let's
mean?
just say you don't have any capital either. Then I know it's kind of hard to like to do this, but like I know a lot of editors and a lot of people that would be willing to do stuff for a case study. Uh, and I don't know if that's something that you should definitely look into. I didn't say this. This isn't coming from me, but just like there are a lot of people out there that would do it for a case study.
Take advantage
I
of
totally
kids in
haven't
like
used this.
India that just
No, I mean like for different things, like if you need like certain, editing is like the main one, right? Like a lot of people need trying to grow their short form content agencies or whatever, maybe, because that's something that's tough, like editing is like if you're good at it, you're good at it. I mean, that's like you can get really good at editing. It's a skill that you can like perfect. But like when it comes to like other things, like you can sort of learn it decently. You know what I mean? Editing is like
expand
more of
that.
a niche thing.
Expand that
Expand on
thought.
that?
Expand that thought that video editing you can perfect it. Other things, other things you can get good or whatever, however you put it.
No,
Expand
I
that
put it
thought.
that video editing is a very high what's the word for it? Like high, there's a high learning
Barrier
gap
to
on it.
entry.
Barrier to entry, maybe. Well, because you can edit a video, right? But a guy who's been doing it for like who's just put in more time can beat your video, and it's not even like it'll make such a difference. Like it could be the same exact thing, but if someone else edits the video, it's like it's a completely different thing. Like just there's like a more of a skill, like there's more of a gap when it comes to like learning editing, right? Like when you first start, it's here, and then it's like the average skill is like this much, right? Like this is the top, this is the bottom, right? But like editing, I feel like there's like a really big gap because there's so much you can do within editing that it makes it so that the point, like there's even styles of editing, right? Like whichever way, like if you want a more chill video, you want to use music that's less, that has less beats per minute. You want to use music that has or not just music, but you want to use less cuts, right? You want to use more of you talking, and you want to lower the volume on the video, like stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things that go into it that the skill that it takes to edit a video at a very high quality is a lot higher than the skill that it might take to do something else. That's kind of my point with that. Like I feel like editing is a very niche skill that you takes a lot of time to get really good at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
And
almost like
it also takes a lot of time to edit a video. Like if you're good at it, it takes a lot of time too. So yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like it'll take you like maybe what, like 5 hours to like learn how to edit. Like, okay, like drag and drop. And then you'll be like okay at it. And then it takes like 1,000 hours to become like a master at it, where it's like you said, like those killer results. So yeah, it's like
Yeah,
to know like how to do it, it's super easy. To
yeah.
know how to like I mean, it's kind of obvious, right? But it's
Drag
like,
and drop.
yeah,
Transition here, transition there.
yeah,
Like I don't know. It's not that difficult, right? Like, but if you're good at it, I mean, the possibilities, like I can see like that's like a super awesome skill to have. I wish I had put more time into editing when I was younger, but it's just something that's so like it's like time consuming, and a lot of this stuff is hard to get. So yeah.
yeah. I found the
Okay.
hardest thing. And go ahead.
No, I was just gonna get us back to productivity, but you can finish what your thought.
No, it was some random thing. Just go back to productivity.
All right, back to productivity. So we were talking about, doing stuff that you like to get more productivity, right? Like it's your style of doing things, right? Um, I mean, I guess another thing I would mention is like a lot of the people that tell you like, oh, you need to do this to be productive, like you need to take cold showers in the morning, and I feel like it's not all that like all these habits and things that I understand like habit building and stuff like that. That's probably better for you to do stuff like that. But I feel like it's a lot more simple. It's just I mean it's just like put the time in. I don't know. Um
Yeah. I kind of take like an
I don't know.
80/20 approach, where it's like 20% of your inputs are going to get you 80% of the results, right? So it's like basically just kind of figuring out what the most important things are
Mhm.
and then just focusing on them. So it's like first thing in the morning, I usually either go to the gym or I'll just work. I find that the extremely intricate like morning routines where it's like, all these little rituals, and I mean, you've seen them obviously, where it's like,
Yeah.
you know, cold shower and then go for the run and then the meditation and then the gratitude journal and on and on and on. I found that kind of be just found it to be like distracting almost. And it like we mentioned earlier about the stress, about wanting to be in two places at once. I found
Mhm.
that I was kind of in a state of like that, where it's like I just wanted to just wake up and I had this task that I know I needed to do. And I wish I could have just woken up and just executed the task and got it done with and move on,
Mhm.
instead of being there trying to meditate. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, but I've got like that urgent project that needs to get done by the end of today. And I'm like 2 hours in with some garbage routine. You know what I mean? Now I have two
Yeah,
hours less
I
to
agree with
work
that.
on it. You know what I mean? Um,
Another
yeah,
thing that I would say that helps with productivity a lot is, I mean, I know we were just talking about like habit building, right? But like, I feel like there's good habits that you can build that are productive. Like, um, for example, right? I have like another YouTube channel where it's like just like automated videos where basically I cut up like other like documentaries or whatever it may be, and I cut it up into a bunch of different little clips, right? I just kind of made that a habit. Like I just kind of do that. Like I have free time, I'll just like edit them up. I'll just do it like kind of for fun. Like it's not really like I don't take it as seriously as like I probably like it's just kind of a habit. Like it's I just kind of do it like second nature. Like it's not like I really like put effort into it really. Like it's like kind of like oh today like I need a couple of videos out. Okay, I'll just go edit them and I'll schedule them for like the next week and I'll be all
yeah. It's
set.
like
And then like
it's
oh I
like
have a couple of
routine. Yeah,
it's routine, yeah. But it's a good habit. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I want to talk about that. I think that so you have people kind of talking about. I think we talked about this before we were recording, but you have people to kind of talk about like self improvement. But self improvement, in my opinion, is almost borderline impossible, because if you break down that phrase like self improvement, you're kind of like improving yourself, which I think that you can do that. I think obviously you can improve your character, but the way that most people take that is they almost mean like changing yourself. Like they think that they need to fix their personality because there's some aspect of it that they don't like, because they don't like that they wake up in the morning and they scroll on their phone. So they think that there's something about their personality that's defective, right? So then they say, okay, I need to improve myself. I think that a better lens to look at it through is just kind of like finding how you can almost like express those aspects of your personality in the most productive way. Does that make sense? Like I can
Yeah,
break that down further, but just let me know if that even
I feel
makes
like that's
sense
a
at
good
all.
topic for another podcast.
Yeah, I
But
mean, just
yeah,
just I'll touch on it briefly,
yeah,
but it's
yeah. Go ahead.
like I just think that it's like oftentimes you have like a lot of habits and things like that that you know are not productive. You know that they're somewhat like mildly self-destructive. Like you're obviously not like slitting your wrist or like doing hard drugs or whatever, but like they're not like conducive to anything good. Um, and I think that instead of like a
You could have
personality
just said like
issue,
scrolling on your phone, but you had to go there. Okay.
what? No, I'm saying it's not that. I'm saying
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying
know.
because I said self-destructive, and I don't want people to think that like I'm out here like
Yeah, I
having
know.
these horrible. I'm just saying like scrolling. You know what I mean? Whatever it is.
YouTube.
So I think that you just kind of like you said, you need to replace the habits to talk like kind of take it back to habit building. And it's like you take those things and then you replace them with like more positive habits. And you kind of express it in the most productive way. Like take like Goggins.
Mhm.
Do I want to talk about this? Yeah, I'll take it here, and then if it doesn't make sense, then we can just cut it or something. But like basically, like he went from like almost like this like masochistic um I mean from what I've read about him, it almost seems like self-hatred of like, you know what I mean, like force feeding, like the dude was like 300 pounds,
Mhm.
wasn't really going anywhere in life, and he kind of put it into a more productive way of like now he's doing like ultra marathons and I don't know, SEAL team training and all that.
Mhm.
Like basically taking what he was doing before, which was kind of like beating himself up, right? Like obviously eating all this food and being completely like basically going nowhere in life. It's not productive.
Mhm.
And then he put it into a form that is productive of like beating himself up via
I
the
guess. Yeah.
exercise. I don't know if that makes sense. You can cut that out
I
if
don't
that
think
doesn't make
I think a
sense.
lot of the hatred that he had, like all the self stuff, I think that a lot of that was like trauma. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
okay,
he had a
okay.
lot of
That's really what
trauma.
yeah, that's what I'm saying there. That he took the trauma that he was basically like taking out with like binge eating and whatever
Yeah,
else he was
exactly.
doing, and now he takes it out in like a productive means of like running ultra marathons and like
Yeah.
exercising and running it like a media empire. That's my point. That's my point.
Yeah. I was gonna say something else, but it just blanked. Anyway, I think we've talked a lot about some productive thing, about some ways to be productive. Is there anything else you want to add before we finish out the podcast?
Mm, no, I think that's it.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say now. Just came to me. You can finish though. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna ask like, does never mind. Just go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that a lot of people have this habit of watching the videos, the self-improvement videos,
Yeah.
like a giant habit of like, oh, I'm improving myself because I'm watching this video. And I feel like I used to be like that in a certain way, but I wasn't like that deep because like I would like try to take action a little bit. Like eventually I did take action, but like there's like a cycle of just like continuously watching these videos where it's like I feel like I'm being productive because I'm watching this video, but I'm not doing anything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I know that applies to a lot of people if they're like going back to that like younger self advice, which we did in the last podcast, you know, that kind of I
Yeah.
can see that applying to me. But yeah, yeah, I guess that's a anything else? We're good.
Anything else for you?
All right, so we'll just summarize it. I think habit building, the proper habit building is crucial. Just setting a timer and trying your best not to procrastinate on the things that you know you have to get done. Um, and
Finding your style.
finding your style and your way of getting things done more efficiently. And yeah, I mean, those are three main things. Anything else? I think that was basically it.
Finding the best habits for your personality, swapping
Yeah,
them
best
out to the
habits.
most productive ones.
Yeah,
If you're going to be like David Goggins and destroy your body because of childhood trauma, you may as well do it in a way that's,
ultra marathon.
somewhat productive, running ultra marathons instead of, being
Eating fast
morbidly
food.
obese and whatever. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Anything
Yeah.
else?
All
Anything
right.
else you want to wrap
That's
up
it.
there?
That's good. All
All
right.
right.
Thank you guys for watching the podcast. Drop a like on the video and subscribe. And if y'all are watching this on Rumble, feel free to I think it's called Rumble the video. You can rumble the video and drop a follow. So yeah, thank y'all for watching and bye bye.
All right. Peace out, gentlemen.